this will be processed and then we will upload this to the regional YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and just search for KW Carolinas region, you'll be able to see all of the great content that we have that we're delivering to you and that you are all asking for. So I did drop in chat just a couple of things. One is a resource for this class. It's literally everything that we're going to go through together. You do not need it for this class. It's just feel free to take notes. This is going to be very much an overview. I think we've even got some Market Center tech trainers that are taking this class and really teaching this as a hands-on workshop either later today or in the coming week. So we'll have that as well. So we'll go ahead and jump on in. If I haven't met you, hello, my name is Sydney Seymour. I have the absolute pleasure of being the Regional Technology Trainer, also known as the RTT for the Carolinas region. So serving 43 market centers with close to 9,000 associates across North Carolina and South Carolina. I've been with Keller Williams since 2010. I'm a KWU approved instructor, a labs advisor, and just really, really passionate about helping our associates figure out how they can potentially save time and also save money to be able to manage their business and really thrive in any market, which is what we're going to talk about today. So I know we've got a bunch of market centers that are here. I'm going to ask, because I will ask a couple questions. We can do this one of two ways. If you want to unmute and just answer, that's fine. If you have someone that's kind of leading the charge on this, and if I ask a question, if you want to just put your answers in chat, we can do it that way as well. But curious, my first question is, have any of you played around with the new advanced filters that live in Command in your database? So awesome, we're getting a yes from KW Legacy, Apex, love that. So we're getting a yes from that. We might see that maybe you've like played around with this a little bit, but maybe like, okay, so in Concord, we're seeing some have, maybe we've done like a couple things here and there, but we maybe don't know like 100% everything that it has. Wilmington is a no, which I'm excited about. So I think you're gonna leave today really excited about these new features that we have. So first things first, I'm going to share my screen and I'm speaking to YouTube right now as I'm recording. YouTube has cracked down on the ability to keep processing recordings that they think have real data. So YouTube, here's what I did. And I think maybe a couple of you will laugh at this. I hope I'll get some chuckles with this. Prior to the class, I went in and I imported, this is all fake information, YouTube. So I imported the entire cast, or we'll say the entire workforce of a wonderful show that I like, which is The Office. So none of this is real information. So fake, all Dunder Mifflin made up email addresses, fake phone numbers. We all see where they work. We all see their roles, everything that they have there. So none of this is real data. So fingers crossed, you guys, we're gonna hope that YouTube has awareness of that and does not take this down, because this is not real data. So bear with me real quick. I'm just going to pull up chat so I can see that over here on my other screen. And we are going to go ahead and jump on in. So the reason why I really wanted to put this workshop together is because your database has so much value to it. We all know that. And yet, on average, if we say that the average associate potentially has, let's say, like maybe anywhere from 500 to 1,000 contacts. I know we have large teams, large individuals that have like thousands of contacts. It can get really confusing when we're looking at all of the contacts to see who do I need to be engaging with? How do I need to be re-engaging with them? What conversations should I be having? Smart plans can take a lot of the heavy lifting of that. However, we understand that your database is so personal to you and your database is your business. So with advanced filters, which is really what we're going to talk about today, you'll see how much you have the ability to really dive deep into, okay, I have all of this data for this person. Maybe the next conversation I need to have is this, or I don't have this data for this person and I really should. So figuring out ways that we can do that. So with that, we're going to jump on in. Like I mentioned, I've got the chat pulled up on the screen over here. If we have any questions or if anybody wants to add any information in the chat, please feel free. I love this region so much. I'm blessed to work in this region because it's such a place where everybody comes from collaboration. So feel free to add anything in chat or feel free to unmute yourself and we can have a discussion and a conversation. So we're going to get started. This is 5 ways that you can easily engage with your database. And we're going to jump on in to number 1. So first things first, how we're going to get into where we're really going to use all of this. Prior to this workshop, what I did is logged into Command and I went into my contacts. And so to do that, once we've logged into Command, which you get to by just going to agent.kw.com, all we're going to do is go into our contacts, and that allows us to see our entire database right here. So first things first, the first kind of scenario that I was thinking about is, wouldn't it be really valuable for us to know, okay, who is searching on my website or on my consumer app, which means that they're doing some sort of engaging with me there, who is searching that way, and I don't have a neighborhood set up for them, meaning I don't know where they live, I don't know where they want to live, like I need that additional data. So if that is something that we wanted to find out, we can do that very, very easily. So all we're going to do is we're going to come in, I'm going to set it so I can see just some additional contacts here. So bear with me 1 second while I just take everything off. And we're going to come right up here into filters. And you'll notice as soon as we go into filters, if you've never really taken a look at this new feature, these advanced filters, a lot of this will look a little bit different than it used to. We used to have just like these different things that would pop up of like, let me look at this and let me look at that. Number 1, the filter drawer has changed, meaning it's going to pop out here from the side, and we've got all of this additional information that we can look at here. Previously, like we could look at tags, we could look at last contacted, we could look at different things there, but we did not have the availability that we have here. So first and foremost, I do want you to make sure that you see everything that you can look at here. What we're going to dive into together is really those advanced filters. So all we're going to do is we clicked into filters, and then we're going to click into advanced filters right up here. And for a lot of agents that I consult with, we call this advanced filter. You might hear this referred to as like the and or logic or the if this then logic. That's essentially what we're looking at here with these advanced filters. So we're going to click into advanced filters, and then you'll notice every single field that we have the opportunity to take a look at here. Now we're going to start with that first one. So again, the scenario that we're kind of searching for here is show me everybody that has some sort of site connection with me, meaning that they created an account on my website. And so I'm going to pick agent site connection. And then the value is, I want to see who's connected. Now we could take this an entire different way, right? We could say, show me everybody that's not connected. And that could be a phone call of, hey, wanted to let you know about this really cool website that I have that allows you to see homes anywhere across the country, as well as up to 30 additional countries. All you have to do is go sign up. It's free, never get any advertising that you don't want. So that's a whole other phone call that we could make of who's not connected. But we're going to go the route of who is connected, and I maybe don't have them set up as I want to. So I'm going to say agent site connection, that's connected. Then I have the ability to add this additional filter. So I'm going to add this additional filter, and the field that I'm going to add here is I'm going to come down here until I get to neighborhoods. And for neighborhoods, I'm going to say is empty. And that means I don't have a neighborhood associated with any of these contacts, which if they're searching on my website is probably something I want to have because I want to set them up for bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, maybe monthly neighborhood nurture. So as soon as I come in and add that, I then have the ability to hit apply. But if we go back a step, again, I picked neighborhoods as empty, but the functionality that you have here is really incredible because I can say, show me everybody that a neighborhood is this neighborhood, includes this specific neighborhood, or is not empty, or excludes this neighborhood. So I really have the ability to drill down, but we're going to keep that as empty. And then I'm going to say apply. And then it's going to show me I have currently 2 contacts that are registered on my site that I don't have a neighborhood for. So as I was kind of preparing this workshop and thinking of this, my big thing is I always want to leave you with an action item of then what should be done now. I have different thoughts on this. My first inkling is I need to immediately go in and add a neighborhood to them. And so if I see that they've registered on my site, I can then see if they're looking at properties over here. If they looked at anything, I have the ability to see that. And then I'm going to add the neighborhood that's closest to where they're searching. And then I might add them to the biweekly, the monthly neighborhood search. So I have the ability to really see that data there. So that is step number 1, consumers that are searching your website without a neighborhood. Before we jump into number 2, I'm just going to check in chat, or feel free to unmute. Does anybody have any questions about that one? Looks like we're good. Okay, I'm going to reset filters every single time that we go in and do this. So I'm going to hit apply and just completely reset those. All right, number 2. And I'm going to talk about open houses. However, I want you to really enter here whatever one of your biggest lead sources is. So I'm going to say, okay, maybe I'm hosting a bunch of open houses and I want to really kind of drill down and get granular on open houses. However, if you're like, nope, we're doing a ton of internet lead gen, or I'm really big into SOI, or I have a huge client appreciation event that we run 4 times a year. Think of whatever your lead source is for that. I'm just going to stick with open houses for this. That's the example that I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to put a little like asterisk next to this because something has to have happened first manually for this to be a filter that you potentially would want to use. And I'll walk you through what that is. So I'm going to come in here to filters. We're going to clear all, apply, and then we're going to go back that same way. We're going to come right up here to filters. We're going to jump into advanced. And then this time I'm actually going to come in and say that the lead source. So right down here under lead source, I have the ability to say it includes any, and then I've got my lead sources here. If I'm using the lead source, that's the thing. So if you're not adding a lead source to your contacts, we don't always see that this is going to work, right? So I'm going to start searching by open house. You'll see any lead source that has open house associated with that I have in my account pops up. I'm going to choose open house. Now I can add multiple. So I might come back here and say, I also want to look for Facebook leads. Maybe I just want to kind of do this at the same time. So we're going to come in here and pick a couple of these. So you see how we can pick multiple at a time, which is really nice. So we're going to pick that as the lead source. And for this instance, I might say, okay, I want anybody that has this specific lead source, and we're going to go the same route. They don't have a neighborhood associated with them, because that potentially means that I'm not able to really like hyper locally reach out to them. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to add that filter again, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did. We're going to come right down here. We're going to choose neighborhoods. And then instead of includes any, we're going to say is empty. Now, I even think, again, if we go back to that open house analogy, if I'm really doing tons of open houses and I'm hosting one every week, and I've got this neighborhood that I'm really farming and where I'm hosting the open house, I could switch this up and I could say, show me everybody that's a lead source from an open house, and that the neighborhood includes maybe the neighborhood that they're searching where I'm hosting an open house. Because then that's a one-on-one phone call that I could call and invite them to the open house. So again, we have the ability to really see that. But we're going to keep this as empty. And then I'm going to come right over here. I'm going to hit apply. And then you'll notice this is larger. So this is potentially, we're in a demo account. None of this is real information, right? But I've got, let's see, 5 contacts here that potentially came in as an open house lead. I entered them that way, or they came in as a Facebook lead, and I do not have them set up on any sort of neighborhood. So while I might be sending them a smart plan, I'm not sending them a smart plan that's really specific to any area. So again, the action item that we might want to do here is come in here. We have the ability to see, okay, what Facebook ad or what open house did they come from if I added that as a note, and then go in and the same thing as we would have done in the first example, add them to a neighborhood specific to that area. It's just so key because we have those smart plans that can be really great. However, they can be really, really broad and general if we don't have true neighborhood information of what we should be sending them. Because then remember, in the monthly or the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, that's how they're able to see what's recently sold, new to the market, really look at those market stats. So this is just a nice way to really be able to do that. We could literally come in here if we go back into filters and we could just do show me everybody that neighborhoods is empty. We might need to be prepared for a large list there. But when we hit apply, we can see, and this is what I hear a lot of, like, who do I not have on a monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan that I can easily see? That's an easy way to look at it as well. So we can really kind of customize down on how do I need to be engaging? What data do I have? What data do I not have? I'm going to go in and reset filters again. And you'll notice I can click that red button at any time if I just want to kind of like break that down. I'm going to come back in and just hit apply. And then we'll be seeing, again, we've got those filters on for our office crew that we've got here. So before we go into number 3, just to recap, number 1 was the consumers that are searching on your website or the consumer app, and we don't have a neighborhood associated with them. We learned how to do that. Number 2 is I went with open house leads, but insert any lead source there. So any leads that you have from something and they don't have a neighborhood associated with them, because we might want to set that up. I'm going to go into number 3. And while I'm pulling that up, does anybody have any questions so far or anything to add? We'll take just a second of a pause here. No questions. So I'm going to ask a question. And I'll just look to chat to have a representative from each room kind of answer this. Who in here enjoys cleaning your house? Meaning organizing, cleaning out like your kitchen pantry. If we all remember Marie Kondo from a few years ago, like who enjoys that? Just a yes or no in chat. We might have, yeah. we're seeing like some common themes here. Okay, a lot of you are saying once it's done. Those of you that are watching the recording, I hope that you're enjoying this, but I'm telling you, live in person, the chat is very funny, and I wish you were here to be a part of it. However, we're hearing that yes, we're seeing that a lot of you hate the act and you love the result. I would say similar things can be said about the gym, right? We maybe hate going there and we love the result. Greenville Upstate, you're cracking me up. You were saying it has never been so quiet in Greenville. So perhaps that's not a place that we love to do that. KW South Park loves it. So maybe we could make some referrals here and maybe we could like outsource that out. Okay, Concord loves it. Love that. And then Wilmington is saying no. Wilmington has the cute puppy in the room though. So we're just going to hang out with that all day long, right? Yeah, like nobody, this is a true story. I texted my husband this morning and said, do we have any plans this weekend? I think we need to clean out the garage. So listen, I don't like to do it. Nobody likes to do it. However, it feels really good when it's done. We're able to see, oh, that's where I put that I thought I lost that years ago. It makes us feel organized. I would go a little bit further. I do like organization, but I would go a little bit further and say like, it allows us a bit more of even peace of mind when we go into the room or we open up whatever we have actually gone in and cleaned. And your database can be the same way. And I'm going to do my best to not make this a TED Talk. However, I am meeting with a ton of agents recently that are saying, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need to pay for more leads. I need more leads. And when we look at their database, I am meeting with people that have 3,000 contacts, 4,000 contacts, 7,000 contacts, 10,000 contacts. I met with someone a few weeks ago that had 28,000 contacts. I assure you, you do not need more leads. You need a better way to keep up with and engage and communicate with your database. However, I get it. it becomes the chair, right? Which is where we take all the clothes that we need to get rid of, and it just becomes this mound on the chair that we never do anything with. So we don't start and we don't really kind of go through and clean that out. It's the same analogy as your home. So this one, for this option, which is number 3, I want to talk about contacts that you potentially imported that need to be cleaned up. And here's what I mean. Now, through the Command app, this is absolutely incredible. You have the ability to literally go into contacts and say, import all of my contacts from my phone. You can import your entire phone database in seconds through the Command app. Your Market Center tech trainer is so well versed in this. If you need help with that, definitely reach out to them. We also have the ability to very easily import contacts into Command from any file that you have. So you could take them from your local MLS, from your email, from another system you have, from your holiday address list. You can import like crazy. The common denominator that we see a lot is that contacts that you have imported, you generally have not tagged. So we just like added them in there in the beginning to get the contacts in. We probably added, I don't want to say the bare basics, but we probably added a name, a phone number, an email, and maybe some other pieces of information. And so now we might want to say, well, gosh, I imported 600 contacts from my phone. I actually need to make sure that I have all of the data that I want for those contacts so that I can communicate effectively. So I'll show you an easy way to do this. We're going to go back into the filters right up here. And all we're going to do for this one is under filters, we're going to do the same thing. We're going back into that advanced filter. And this time under lead source, you'll notice if I come right down here, we went this before when we talked about open houses. Under lead source, we're going to say that it includes any. We're going to keep that. And then we're going to type right here, and we're going to say phone import. Because if I imported my contacts through the Command app, it automatically sets the lead source as phone import. So that's really nice. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to check that box. And then the one that I'm going to add as an additional piece is under add filter. I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to choose tags. And then under tags, I'm going to say is empty. So that means show me everybody that I added from my phone that I didn't tag. Because if I didn't tag them, I probably didn't take the time to go in and make edits and changes to them to make sure I have as robust of information as I want. We're going to hit apply, and then you'll notice I've got 10. So I've got 10, and when we start to look at it, like literally I have a phone and an email. I don't have a tag. I haven't contacted them recently. If I scroll over, I probably don't have a lot of information on them. If I go into the actual contact record itself, we can see like this is a very low health score. We've got a health score of 24%. I don't have a neighborhood. I don't have a home address. I don't have their birthday. I don't have all of this information that, quite frankly, I probably do have for them. I just pulled it in from my phone and said, contacts are in there, that's it. So here's what I think could then really help you with this, because this is cool to be able to search by this, right? But here's where I think we can take it a step further if we add an action item. I'm going to come right up here, and if I want to select in this demo account, I've got 10 contacts that fall under this. If I want to choose all of those, I'm just going to check the little box that's in this gray banner right here. If I just wanted to pick a couple of them, I could come in checkbox by checkbox. And then all I'm going to do is right up here where it says select bulk action, I'm going to add a tag. And the tag that you will want to use for this, I have one that I've created that's called cleanup. And so I can create it right here. If I don't have it for some reason, I can even give that a color if I want to. So I'm going to call it clean up, and then I'm going to hit create tag. And then I'm going to add that selected tag. And then as soon as I refresh that page, you'll see that then I've got all of the tags associated with those 10. So what I like about this is now I can go in under filters and under tags, I can search by cleanup, apply that to see those 10 contacts. And then I can literally go in contact by contact and add whatever information I want and remove that cleanup tag. And remember, we can easily see these contacts through the command app. So like, let's say that we go back to that open house and there's 10 minutes where we all know at open houses, people come in 30 groups at a time, and then it's quiet for an hour, and then 50 more people come in, right? So when we have a little bit of that downtime, we can come in here, search by this specific tag, and then go in and just really quickly add whatever specific information that we want. And you'll see again, if I go into them, it's going to tell me, okay, I have a 28% for this specific contact for that, which we'll dive deeper into that a little bit. So the only thing that you might have to do is create that cleanup tag, but everything else the system will pull for you. So, and then you'll feel so good. You'll feel just like you cleaned your house. And even though nobody likes to do it, we all like the after effects of it, and you'll feel really good about your database. So again, if we think back just a little bit, number one that we talked about was consumers that are searching your website that don't have a neighborhood associated with them. Number two is insert lead source here. We did open house. So maybe visitors or leads that come from an open house that also don't have a neighborhood. Number three is contacts that you imported or got in somehow. We're just going to go with import, and we didn't have a tag associated with them that allows us to potentially say, hey, here's a person that I want to make sure I'm cleaning that database up. Let's go in and clear all. We're going to move into number 4. So number 4, there's a little bit of legwork that has to happen first for this to work. And again, these are just examples that RTTs and KWRI came up with of like, oh, here are some cool ways we can use advanced filters. You might have different ways. So this is just kind of to get that brain thinking a little bit about this. So one that we came up with is, wouldn't it be nice to say, I want to show I want to see every single buyer that used me to purchase a property, and I don't have a home anniversary for them. So I want to know every single person that used me to purchase a home, and I don't have a home anniversary for them. So again, what we would have to do is there's one custom tag, and there's a little bit of legwork that we'd have to do here. So we would have to have a tag that is called closed buyer or whatever it is. You could name it whatever you want. And the legwork that has to happen first is as you're like closing out the opportunity, we add that tag to the buyer. And I've seen in a lot of agents' database, I've even seen them include the year if they'd like to. And I see that a lot. So that is something that manually I'd have to go in. And if I say, I just, closed a house with Steve and Samantha, I add them both to my database, update the home address, and then I make sure I enter them as closed buyer. So that is something that you'd have to do first, just a note about that. We could also think of this differently, and we could say, okay, for closed seller, right? So they sold their house and maybe now they're renting or something like that. We could do that and then add them as a monthly neighborhood nurture. So there's really cool functionality there. So same thing, we're going to come right up here to advanced filters. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come right down here to tags, and we're going to say includes any. And I'm going to come in here, and I don't think I have that as a tag. So we'll search by a tag here. We'll say test, but imagine that this says, oh, this is a buyer that we have a closing with, and they closed recently. The filter that we're then going to add is under select field. We're going to come right down here to home anniversary, and we're going to say is empty. Now you'll notice I can come in here and say, show me everybody whose home anniversary is within the next number of days, weeks, or months. Show me everybody that is within the last, meaning it recently happened, is longer than, is empty, or is not empty. We're going to say is empty. And then we're going to hit apply. And then we've got this one test here that we have. And so as we come in and say, okay, number 1, I want to tag them. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tag them as closed buyer. Maybe I need to add the tag and create it and have that right here. So we're going to add them to that. And then we're going to hit save. And then we're going to make sure we have the neighborhood for them. And then the smart plan that we're going to add them to is home anniversary. We could take this a step further and we could add that closed buyer as a tag trigger of the home anniversary smart plan. And so the second that you add this tag of closed buyer to this contact, the home anniversary smart plan immediately starts. Now, nothing goes out until we actually enter the home anniversary and have the date down here. It would hold it for that, but we wouldn't have to manually add them to the smart plan for that. So again, the thing that has to happen here is we have to have this closed buyer tag that we've added to them. The other piece of information that if we come in here and hit that edit button under add more information, if we scroll down, we can see we've got their birthday and their home anniversary. So we'll just come in here right now. We'll say that, nope, we're in July, guys. We'll say that we're going to add July 26th. And then I do have to add a year for this. So we'll say we're not buying in the future, 2023. Save. And then you'll see immediately it's added there. Any questions on that one at all? Home anniversary is so big, and we just, up until now, there hasn't been a great way to find out who has a home anniversary or it's empty or who doesn't have the information. And now it's just really nice that we have the ability to see that. All right, so moving into the fifth, maybe the final one, we'll see. But the fifth one, we've got the ability to really clean up your database health score. In the handout that I dropped in chat, you'll notice that it's got on the last page, it has everything that ties into your database health score. So the question that I get a lot is, how do I get my database health score higher? What attributes to that? It's all written out on that sheet. There's also an answers article. I'll tell you the big things that go into it that we call like the big four are name, phone number, email address, and physical address. Now, does anybody want to take a guess? I'll hold for a second and you can write the answer in chat. Out of those four, which do you think we have the least data for, you as an agent? Do you think it's the name, email, home address, or phone number? So I'll give you just a second to see. We're getting lots of address answers here. Looks like nobody is saying anything differently. And then this is always my follow-up question to that. And this is said with love and kindness and appreciation for all of you. Remind me again what you do for a living. You essentially need to know where everybody lives, right? Because we need to know what's happening in the market. Yeah, like, yes, KW South Park, we sell homes. Yes. So we need to know, like, where do they live? Oh, good. I got a laughing emoji from Wilmington. Thank you. We need to know where they live. We need to know this data. So if you had just those four pieces of information, that would give you 2, 4, 6, 8, 80% for every contact that you have that for. The rest of the items are like a mishmash of things. I've got it written here that I'm going to read to make sure I do get it correct. Social media profile adds 4%. A tag adds 4%. So literally, as we're adding contacts, if we had those four in a tag, we'd be at 84% for every contact in our database. The lead source is 4%. The birthday is 4%. And then work information is also 4%. So that's what takes you to that. There's some other things that attribute as well. So what's, I think, really cool that we can see here, and this is if you want to get like really, really granular down with this, right? And you're like, I've got to have 100%. We can come in here. We're going to look at all contacts again. We're going to come into filters. We're going to go into advanced filters. And then we're going to come right up here. And the field that we're going to choose first is birthday. And we're going to say is empty. And then we're just going to keep adding these filters. So their company is empty. Their lead source is empty. Their tags is empty. Oops, is empty. Now I could continue on, right? I can add additional stuff if I want to. I'm going to stop there. We're going to hit apply. And then this is a demo account, so please bear with me. We have 3 that we don't have that information for. I would imagine you would have significantly more, and that's okay. but we've got 3 here when we're looking that we don't have all of that information for. So this might start really, really large, and then it gets smaller for that, right? So we might see like, gosh, I started with like 100, but you might say like, well, I actually have everything except for I don't have lead source, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. So coming in and seeing that, and then we could add a tag to this as well, right? And we could call that tag like health score cleanup or whatever you wanted to, and then remove that tag as we see fit. So we can do that. Thank you for adding that. I see that you added that in chat again. Thank you, Apex. Huge shout out to you for that. So this is just where, like, again, sometimes we're scrolling through and we don't know all the data that we have or we don't have in our database. And this allows us to really see like, who do I need to clean up? How do I need to clean that up? And then my challenge to you would be, what does it look like if we do tag these? And then we just say, you know what, I'm going to take 5 minutes every day and I'm just going to add this information. Because I started this workshop by saying that I'm really passionate about helping our associates save time. And I believe that you have all of this data for all of the contacts that you have. I just believe that you probably have it in a multitude of places, right? If I need to know their birthday, I go to Facebook. If I need their home address, I have it written somewhere. Maybe I have it digitally, in an Excel sheet. If I need to remember where they work, that's just in my head, or I go to Facebook. If I need to know their birthday, or I did birthday, if I need to know this, I go there, right? So it's like we potentially have like 4 or 5 places that we're keeping this stuff. Let's just make command the catch-all where everything just lives in here and I can really communicate at a high level with that. So what I'd like to leave you with just in the last few minutes is, if you're really going to dive into this, one last additional tip that I think is going to really help you. And first things first is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get rid of some of these because I want to really have some data here. So I'm going to say, okay, show me everybody. Let's talk about birthdays. Maybe you're like, actually, let's do tags. Sorry, we'll do tags instead. And maybe you're like, I'm really going to get like specific about who I'm calling. I have this tag of like, this is my A+ clients, and I really want to make sure I'm calling them this week. So I need to be able to come in and filter by that at any time. And then under tags, I'm going to say includes any, and then the tag that we're just going to come up and use is test, because I don't really want to create this. So you're going to pick whatever it is, and then we are going to hit apply. And then this is what we've been doing all day long, right? Is we've been creating these filters and then having visibility into this. What then happens is the second that I come out of contacts and I go back in, this is completely wiped out. So the time that you've taken to sort by that filter is gone. And then at that point, we have to redo it unless you create a smart view. So let's say you come up here and you sort by the first one that we had. Show me everybody that's connected to my agent site, but I don't have a neighborhood associated with them. We pull up all of that information and you're like, you know what? This is something that I really want to dig into. I don't want to have to continue searching by this multiple times. That's when you can create a smart view. So if I come right up here and say create smart view, I have the ability to call this whatever I want. I'm going to call this test training. I can even set this as my default smart view. I'm not going to, and I'm going to save that smart view. Nobody sees the name of smart views except for you. So then I can come up here and I have a drop down where all of my smart views live. And so I can come in here and say, oh yeah, I wanted to, like, who do I need to clean up? I save that as a cleanup smart view. And I can come in here at any time and see that entire view. So as I'm filtering, if you find yourself, oh my gosh, every single day I'm coming in and I'm filtering by this, save it as a smart view, because a couple things happen. Number one, it saves you time because I don't have to come in and keep filtering the same way. But number two, advanced filters cannot be used through the command app, but smart views can be visible. So what I mean by that is through the app, I can come into my contacts and I can say, show me my cleanup view. And then on the app, I can see everybody here and go in and do all of that setting up and cleaning up of contacts through that. So smart views, if you feel like, gosh, I'm using this a lot and I probably want to continue to use it, smart views can potentially be your best friend for all of this. So really, really big. What's cool about this too, if I have anybody that's on a team, smart views are specific to the user. So we could have 10 people on a team and they could each have their own smart view. They don't cross between users. So I can have, if I'm really working with buyers and I want to see everybody that's tagged as a buyer from this lead source and set up that smart view, I can easily do that. And that doesn't mean that my Rainmaker or the listing specialist see the same smart view. It's only specific to me and my visibility. So we will unshare. I'm gonna just one more time in chat. I'm gonna come here and just drop a Drive link that takes you to the handout that I basically went through for this workshop. I know Market Center Tech Trainers are potentially teaching on this as well, so wanted to share that with you also. I do see a question from Concord. Are smart views updated in real time if I tag? Yes, great question. So if I set up a smart view and it's a tag associated with that, and then I tag someone, yes, in real time, it will be added to that smart view. Great question. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, there's just so much data out there. I know, I mean, the number of contacts that we have in our database as a whole is staggering, and we just need to find a way to really work smarter, not harder with it. So I hope this was helpful for that. We will take the recording and process it. We will upload it to YouTube so that if you weren't able to attend, you're able to share it with somebody that couldn't be here. And again, just thank you all for your time. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here. If we can ever help you with anything, please let us know. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Good to see all of you.